Morning, there are two companies that are leading this space. You just heard from one, and now you're going to hear from the other. Cosabella is a very, very well-known global lingerie company, and Guido Campello is CEO of the company, headquartered in Italy. He was born and raised in Miami, graduated from the Industrial Design Program in New York University's Gallatin School, and individualized study in 2003 with a degree in urban design and planning. He manages all exclusive design collaborations with the likes of Paul & Joe, Urban Outfitters, Barney's, Bergdorf, Neiman Marcus, J.Crew. I mean, I could list a lot of companies here. Please join me in welcoming Guido Campello.
Thanks for having me, Chuck. Good morning. Sorry if I'm a little drowsy, coming off a red eye. I know you guys have some influencer talk this afternoon, but that's what we were doing down in South America. There's a lot of growth there. There's a lot of potential, so we're excited about that. I want to tell you a little bit about our story and what we've been trying to accomplish. And for about 35 years, we've been trying to stay up on tech. We've always been very innovative. You could go back to AOL chat rooms, and my mother had a pseudonym there. My mother created this company, and I'd say AOL actually. Those chat rooms actually helped us really grow. We were able to speak about things that people don't normally speak about. And one of the things that we were able to create is what is now the thong market. So thong underwear was something that was very difficult to talk about. And chat rooms allowed us to really actually grow that. Her pseudonym still to this day is no more VPL, which is visible panty line. And that is something that carries forward. So if you ever look that up, you'll see her on her Flickr accounts or different social networks through time. You'll actually be able to go back and follow it. So tech has always been something that we've been very forward on. I think there was a question before, are you a retail company, are you a tech company? We don't have a choice. I like to be a product person. I really do enjoy my time spending time building product, but I have to be able to follow and do what you guys do, right? I really tie into the digital marketplace now and really understand all the innovations that are happening. There was a comment that the past 6-8 months it's been going fast. I mean, it's just the rapid pace is constant, so we keep evolving. So in 35 years, we were able to bring our brand now to 91 countries. 91 countries B2B and 74 direct-to-consumer last year. So we've been able to really get the name out there and get the story out there. We're a global luxury lingerie, swim, apparel, and sleepwear company. What's great about the brand and what's great about fashion is that you evolve over time. So maybe you create the thong and you become ubiquitous for that, but you can evolve past that. Then we went to bras. Now we are half sleepwear. So the brand keeps evolving, and that's what the digital marketplace allows us to do, is really see where those opportunities are. And actually AI has helped us do that. We've been able to understand data a lot quicker, and now it's affecting my merch plan. It's affecting my product and telling me what the next products I need are. This is our family. This is the core of it, and I would say everybody on here is on their phone or on their computer 24/7, so we are all very tech-driven. We're all pretty tech-savvy, but we're all creators. Everyone here has a hand in the product, so we really go down to the fiber. This is what our stock used to look like. This is 1984, and this is my sister and my mother. And of course, nothing looks like this anymore. It used to be this easy. Or at least we thought it was easy at the time. Now we have to obviously adjust, and by no surprise, Amazon is something that's evolved the whole fashion marketplace as well. Obviously, it's attacked every single industry or category, but in fashion, it's really evolved thanks to owning Shopbop, Zappos, a lot of these sub-sites that really work with us. So obviously, we can't do this anymore. No mom and pop can exist like this anymore if you want to be able to serve the digital marketplace and to be able to do this. And in fact, if you see, I was in Brazil yesterday, and you can see that there's a big empty spot in South America for us, even though it is one of the most digitally connected places. So we really are trying to take steps to understand each marketplace, see how we can evolve, see how we can grow. There's a business-to-business strategy for family companies, but direct-to-consumer really is part of that future. The biggest difficulty we have, and it was mentioned before, are the resources. It's the investment, it's the costs. And when you're doing direct-to-consumer, you also have the weight of inventory. So for a brand like us, who's a traditional wholesaler, and our products in and out, now we're carrying that inventory, now we're delivering that inventory, now we're taking the returns. So we've become retailers. So not only are we a tech company, not only are we a fashion company, now we're retailers too. And that requires a lot of resources. So this is one of the things that we've done the best. Everything you see here is free. We really were an influencer, celebrity brand for a long time. These are all magazine covers. These are all awesome celebrities. In fact, this is Kendall Jenner, what, like 4 years ago? 4 years ago, I think, this picture. So we always were able to capture, and still do capture, everybody, let's say, before that influencer trend. But we don't stop there. We also work with the bloggers, and we've really embraced this. Going back about 3 years ago, we actually send them product, and they send us great imagery. They can do a takeover of our homepage if they'd like. In fact, I think there's one today if you go to our website, I believe. And they actually can tell their story and describe what Cosabella means to them. So we've really embraced both the celebrity figures and the normal stories. This is a sampling of our wholesale distribution. So we really do work from top to bottom, and we really have to cover that gamut around the world. And these are some of our collaborations. One of the best things that we could do was collaborate and tell this story. Sometimes you say if you collaborate, you're watering down your brand. If you make it part of your DNA to collaborate, then you are a collaborative brand. And that's what we decided to do. And this is what AI is showing us too, actually. We're starting to see where the interactions are coming. We're getting a lot better read on what brands, what cross brands people are shopping, even outside of our category. Our team's able to see that and be able to react. So now we can do different types of partnerships. We had three main difficulties. Let's say about 24 months ago, we said we want to take a step to see if we can make our company, our Garmento company, into a startup. Startups are sexy. So if you're trying to get money and you're trying to fund your growth and all these great resources, you have to be sexy. You have to show that you're not a company that's just, in this day and age in fashion, if you're running flat, you're good. You're all right because you're probably improving your bottom line, but that top line, really making sales efficient, that's what we go for. Startup and funding, they don't want to see that. They want to see, obviously, some potential growth in where you're really innovating. The way that we could do that was direct to consumer. That was where we could really take our brand to the next step and show that there is quite a bit of low-hanging fruit or a lot of volume out there. But the structure had to change. One of the biggest things that we have is, again, resources, budget. Where was a majority of a fashion budget is in product development, and it's in marketing. It's in that influencer. It's in the celebrity. It's in the party or the fashion show. How do we bring that back? How do we turn into a tech company? We actually went ahead and we took our marketing department, our e-commerce sales department, and our IT department, and we actually merged it into one, so that our marketing, sales, and IT all became the same focus. We really became a tech retail fashion brand. That was the biggest step. So we all spoke the same language. We weren't disjointed departments. Everybody knew what the goals were, and we targeted tech that way, and we targeted the market that way. One of the biggest things that difficulties also is when you're running that many countries and speaking that many languages, you have multiple offices. We have 4, one in New York, one in Miami, and 2 in Italy for production, and then we have 30 showrooms, right? So we have to be able to speak that language, and we have to change the way that they all speak about the brand too to make us that startup brand. So it all had to go into how the organization told its story, how we told the story to our teams, and build that on the way out, right? So we went from being a family company to starting to have much more of this direct-to-consumer feel. The challenge number 2 is the soul of the brand. Biggest mistake I think everyone makes, I make it every day, is sometimes you sell out, right? So you sell out on who you are because there's an opportunity, or you say, how can I go ahead and take that extra step and see if I can, not fall off the ledge? You need to remember who you are. You need to keep that core to who you are. And so through this process, I'd say every 3 or 4 months, we keep asking ourselves the same questions. And we keep going over it and over it and over it, because what we are realizing is we are different things, right? We do have different statements, especially when you go direct to consumer, especially when the tech is starting to drive you into certain areas. What AI has done for us, and I'll show you our stack, our AI stack, so you understand it better, but we've been able to see segments that we didn't know that we played in. Maternity, became huge for us in the past 2 years. Extended sizing, which is plus sizing, has grown. We really didn't have that segment before. Sleepwear was a segment. So we started seeing all this data that was taking us into certain directions, but how do we keep our essence? And you have to keep asking yourself these questions. So for a family brand to take this step, and for a fashion brand to take that step and not lose themselves, this is one of our biggest challenges. And really, this is what keeps me up at night. It's why I'm a little groggy right now, actually. So challenge number 3 was finding the right partners. So last year, I would say in Q2, we decided, let's see if we can do something really tech forward. Let's see what's out there. We actually had attended e-tail conferences a couple times, e-tail East, e-tail West with the team. We got to start speaking to AI players, and we said, hey, sandbox us. So suddenly our resource costs went down. We became somewhat beta testers. We definitely found some great partners who really wanted to play in our space, understand what we do. They've definitely expanded into our space at this point, even with some of our competitors, and that's great. But we were able to really get implementation in at a low cost. That was the biggest thing for us is, how do we implement this? How do we not break our bank? How do we get after it? And it was really talking. So in Q2, we parted ways with our human ad agency. In Q3, we started implementing these new tech partners, which included the AI. And then by Q4, we started seeing a great rise immediately. We started seeing the low-hanging fruit come into play. The biggest advantage we had, I would say, is really in our ad spend. We brought AI in there. Company was called Adgorithms at the time. They've already changed names to Albert. That's how fast things move, so I don't know what it'll be next year. We call it Alberto. That's our joke. 24/7 representation with efficient ad buys. There's no way that an agency could do that for you. There's no way we could do that. We are a sub 100 employee company. We're not tech people. We're not ad guys. But what it was giving us was a level of efficiency and allowing us to really understand where there were opportunities. What we ended up finding out, and that's where I'll get to, is part of this journey, is that it's not foolproof. And you can learn a lot, but you have to continue to take steps. So what we learned is where the efficiencies were and really searching our ad names, how we could improve that, how we could bid in other languages and in other countries, where those opportunities would be. And ultimately, we also learned that we didn't have to water down our message. When we are a brand telling a story, and my marketing team is in the 24 to 26 demographic female, and they're telling the story great, and then they hand it off to a 43-year-old guy in Canada who's working 9 hours a day to tell this story in ad spend, that's a problem for us. I think it's really cool if we can empower our team and give them that access, and that's what we were able to do. And we did that for almost a whole year. So what we've done is in Q2, in 2017, we started saying, okay, let's see now. We have this growth. We have a constant growth. In fact, we're over 30% growth this year. But let's go ahead and play with this. Sometimes if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it, but I want the bump. I really want to understand where segmentation can go. So let's bring some agencies back in. Let's bring some human ingenuity, some creativity to really challenge kind of the stagnation that was happening, even though it was growth. I want to see where we can pop it. And that's what we've decided to do now. And the idea is to not necessarily have one agency. We started realizing there's all these segments. We speak to 4 or 5 different demographics. We speak to a younger market, a more classic market. Who's going to speak to them the right way? Who's going to engage and give us the right direction? There's streetwear now as a huge element in fashion. We're more classic, we're more beautiful, we're more ethereal. We needed to take that step, so we're doing that in collaboration, and we're doing that with an agency that works with Nike and does Complex Con, or these shows that are much more innovative and street-driven, things that we don't understand. That's where I think this human ingenuity and the creativity is necessary, and just staying on the path of like AI dependency would have just made us square. We just would have been better and better at what we do and not necessarily help us learn and grow. So this is our marketing tech stack. This is what we did. Albert, that came in. Sentient allowed us to do A/B testing. Again, it's great to have A/B testing with AI. It allows you to run so many different steps. I'd say the biggest challenge we had with Sentient is that we weren't big enough yet. I think it's going to be something that'll be great for us in the future. I think There's a lot more that we could leverage as we grow. But we definitely got to do and got to see a lot of things that I didn't believe. If you go to Cosabella.com right now, there's nothing on that screen that I would have approved. It was all through A/B testing. It's all things that I would have been like, "You're crazy! No way! That's not the field. That's not what I'm supposed to do." And we were able to really see where the growth was and how things work. One of the coolest things that we got to see almost immediately is at the top of our page, free shipping, or made in Italy, or beautiful Italian lingerie. What struck the most and struck by an absurd percentage over everything else was family owned since 1983. And that was something I would have never put up there. As important as it is for a fashion brand, that wasn't necessarily, I thought maybe made in Italy, right? Or free shipping, especially for direct to consumer. And really what it went back to is authenticity. So we started learning more and more about ourselves through Sentient. Yotpo is obviously what we use for reviews. Yotpo is still active with us. Sentient and Albert right now are on hold because we decided to go back to the human agency. But we're definitely coming back. This is a step. So we're literally taking a step and we're challenging it. Emarsis has been awesome. Emarsis is great for our email. They promote AI in the terms of how they speak to the designated individual for the email, because they can do promotions specific to that person, right? And that's something that we weren't doing. I'd say that, the 60, 90-day rule and how you contact. For a family-owned business, again, are we thinking or are we realizing down to the individual, has that person not shopped in 60 days? Have they not visited the site in 90 days? So you can really create all these rules. And Marcis actually is building the systems that allow themselves to do it, right? So we can set variables, but they were really able to pull that together. And I have to say that the conversion on our emails now are awesome. So I would definitely speak to them. Pixley for our social has been awesome. And MI9 Retail is our platform. That's just there for information. So again, if you talked to me about this 18 months ago, I would have been like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. I had no idea. Now the whole entire team has been empowered. They've been able to take that step. I'd say what's really cool about AI is the dashboards and the way that you can play with it. A lot of these programs are almost like apps, and they're very intuitive. And so a team that's been running marketing in a business-to-business company can suddenly become somewhat tech-savvy, change those variables, really play and empower themselves and really understand this data. That's been the biggest step for us. And that's pretty much our story. I'd say the biggest point I would have now is that we decided to, mid-August, to halt AI on our ad spends and see what we can do and relaunch our social and kind of rebuild our story from a human aspect, see what the differences are. But because we wanted to challenge segmentation, because we wanted to challenge those emerging markets for us that we weren't getting after, and because AI already taught us some of those bases that we could easily do or build on our own. Again, resources are very important. So if I'm going to go rebuild my social, as we're doing, I need to take funds from some of the commissions I was paying to the AI guys. So it's all about kind of shift and play for us. We have to be very flexible and creative, and we're going to keep at it. And thank you. And if you have any questions, you can always reach me. I think my email's up there, Guido@Cosabella.com. Otherwise, we're down in Soho, so come visit us. Thank you, guys.
Any questions? I've got one question. You said you selected several agencies, 3, 4, 5 agencies for different things. Number one, have you done that yet? And number two, what is your process for selecting that many agencies? Because you're not that large of a company.
A lot of favors. From our side, one of the best things that we can do is collaborate with agencies and collaborate with marketers. Speak to the microphone. Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry. I'd say one of the best things that we can do is collaborate. The biggest asset we have is being a luxury brand or having data that's even sexy to a lot of these agencies, right? So we've been able to take steps in and participate in great events where we're able to collaborate. Collaboration is really important for family-owned companies because we just don't have the dollars to spend. We're not going to have those dollars to spend because it comes straight out of our pocket. So the best way for us to do it is to look at a segment, who's the best player, who are the great brands, who are they working with, and let's talk to them and see if there's something that they want to relate or tie into. And there's really great creative agencies out there. And I also believe for the creative agencies, brands like us can actually give them some of that creativity and some of that spark that they need for other segments.
Guido, thank you very much.
Thanks.